Welcome. You are in the flow. I'm here with my illustrious colleague, Kevin Westerling, chief editor of Water Online. I am Travis Kennedy, publisher here at Water Online. We have a very special day planned. I'm glad that you were able to join us, whether you're out in the field, in the office, at home, and however you may be listening or watching. Thank you for spending part of your day here with us here at Water Online in the flow. Kev, we have a great day coming up.
We sure do. I'm excited to be here on this very first edition of In the Flow. We have a super guest today. Yeah. So it's very exciting.
We went right to the top for this one. We didn't cut any corners. We have an industry superstar with us, Gigi Karmous-Edwards, who is the CEO of Karmous-Edwards Consulting. She's the founder of the Digital Twin Working Group, part of the Swan Network Forum, and is on a series and a number of advisory boards in the industry and the market. She really needs no introduction.
She's all over.
She's everywhere. But Gigi, thank you and welcome to In the Flow.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. I'm super excited about this conversation.
Well, we're excited to have you. So the topic today, we're in the flow, is digital transformation. So that is a topic that has been all over the industry, has been around for 4, 5, 6 years, probably even longer than that. But it's really coming to the main focus and main flow of the market and the industry and conversations that you hear happening, because utilities across the world are going digital. It is a process that has started and is going to continue to progress as we go through this year. Next year, it's going to be with us a while. So I want to start off very broad, if it's okay with you, Gigi. I want to start off with a broad interpretation of where we might be right now in terms of that. So, I mean, we hear the term a lot, digital transformation. So it could be broad and it can be as specific and broad as you want it to be. But in particular for the water industry, how would you define digital transformation?
Okay, well, let's kind of go back a step. I mean, what is digital transformation? It's basically making important decisions based on data and insights. And that's not unlike the way we live our lives. I mean, imagine driving a car and not having that dial of telling us when we need to get gas. We make a decision to get gas because we see the data that our gas tank is low. And so we have to make a decision to get gas.
Or how fast we're going, or right, exactly.
Or a GPS to get from point A to point B. We rely on data just to live our lives. And imagine the decisions process if we didn't have a gas gauge and we just had to guess at when we need to fill up our carts. I love to cook, and I've been cooking for my family for a very long time, sometimes overcooking meat, sometimes undercooking meat. But now I use a digital thermometer and I get it right every time. So.
What's your special dish before we go on? What is it that you really enjoy cooking?
Short ribs.
Got it. Okay.
Oh, goodness. And when you get that temperature just right, oh my goodness.
All right. Good stuff, man. Yeah, right.
All right. So basically it's putting data and information in front of the people that have to make a decision that meets the objective of the organization. That's simply put what digital transformation is. Now, we always hear digital transformation is technology, people, and process. Yes, it is. And then they come back and they say, well, technology is not really the problem. It's really the people. And, we have to change our mindset. That's true, but technology could be a problem. You need to have foundational pieces of technology. You need to be able to collect the data. You need to be able to store the data. You need to be able to access the data so that you can then analyze it. So that's the technology part. And then on top of that, you can apply all types of data analytic applications, which are really exciting, to get the insights that you're really looking for, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the people... I think we all agree that, we're used to doing data-driven decisions. So that's nothing new for every single employee inside a water utility, wastewater, drinking water. It doesn't really matter. We all know how to make decisions based off data. But what really needs to change, I think, is that we need more training. We need more of an understanding. And then we need to empower the people to make decisions on how they can improve their own process. So every employee, whether you're the director of a wastewater system or a drinking water, you have certain objectives that you need to meet. What information do you need in order to meet those objectives? And then keep asking, and then how do I get that information? And then why would this be important? And why is Why is that important? And you can start to understand what data needs to be collected, and it may already be collected, but sitting in a different department. And then how do you have access to that so that you can make the decisions that you need to make? So I think from a people perspective is training, and then followed by empowerment of every single employee, and then really creating a culture of innovation. Everyone is there to innovate. I want to cook better for my family. So I'm constantly thinking, what do I need to do? What information do I need to make better results? And if everyone had that for their own particular set of tasks, no matter if they're working in the field, they're working on the chemical dosing, they're the director and they're looking at the, the big picture of the objectives, asking those questions, figuring out what information is important can lead you to collecting the proper data. So that's the people side of things. And of course, that also solves the process side of things.
Yeah. So it's almost like from the people side, it's like the rolling why, right, Kev? So it's kind of like, well, yes. Why should we look at it this way? What do we need to do to accomplish our right. objectives? And then why? And that in turn will take you through layers of the technology. Yes. And I agree, Gigi, with your assessment around empowerment of the workforce, right? Because I know that coming out of the Swan Network Forum, which is happening again this May, we can touch on that a little bit later. But coming out of that meeting a couple of years ago when it was in Washington, D.C., one of the main themes coming out of there was the increase in cross-department collaboration.
Yes.
Anything related to digital transformation and smart water deals almost directly with different people from different departments having to work together to make this happen and make their outcomes achievable. So yeah, there's no way to underestimate just how much, how important people are and the workforce is to making this happen, separate and distinct and on top of technology. So
I agree. And just to add a little bit to that, a lot of times if I have my certain process here in this particular department, the information I need in order to do my job a little bit better is probably sitting somewhere in a completely different department. And, the executives really need to open that, the playing field or the communication capability so that someone in this department can go and talk to the right people in the other department and start to collaborate, say, wow, this data would be so essential for me to help me make a better decision on the process that I'm responsible for. How can we share the data? And maybe my insights will help you with other things that you're doing. So that collaboration cross-departmental is very, very critical, I think.
Right. Yeah. The how is so important. And speaking of which, you made a great analogy with the car and all the gauges and data that's available to you. But the car kind of comes with all that equipment. And whereas a treatment plant might not, or you might be further behind on the journey. So for those who aren't really that evolved on the road to digital transformation, how do you get started? What are those first steps in doing it?
Well, I would say the very first steps to be successful is, first assess your current capabilities. What is it that you currently can do? Excuse me. And what information do you currently have? And how do you access that information? Understand where you are, kind of, level it out. And then I think collectively, again, the executives have to be part of this, but collectively, all staff members get involved in understanding and developing a digital transformation strategy. A strategy comes with, very clear objectives. It comes with timelines. It comes with, processes, things that need to change in order to achieve that strategy. So that's, I would say, the second thing after you assess. The third is, like I said before, is stakeholder engagement, and that's all employees, getting everyone on board. So you get them part of this strategy, you get them part of, the feeling that they are part of this digital transformation. They're gonna participate even harder. And do keep in mind, there's some things that you have to do sort of in a pilot on the side, and that requires some investment because, One of the things that we always hear about pilots is that they should be for free, but then you have these starving startups that need to get paid for some of these pilots. So keep in mind that there is a little bit of an investment as you go through some of these pilot projects and into the infrastructure. And with the pilot projects, and I'm sure you guys have talked about this, is, this idea about failure. We in the water sector, we just cannot fail, but we have to allow failure in order for us to continue to innovate and advance, as long as, people are not harmed by this failure. And that's why we do pilots on the side and really understand the ramifications of some of these new digital technologies.
So we talked a lot about the cross-department collaboration and just the importance of personnel and people. And that's really what's driving this whole thing. It's somewhat, yes, the technologies, which is innovative. And we could go on all day about how wonderful all these different technologies that are coming into the field really are. But once they're instituted, once they're installed, and once they're operating, a lot of utility personnel may be concerned with a number of different things about managing the systems and managing the data and all that stuff. So what would you say to them to help alleviate some of those fears?
Okay. I mean, I know change is always difficult for all of us. I mean, no matter, again, whether you're in a water utility or, at home or driving a car, but basically, I mean, keep all the employees informed, be as transparent as possible, let everyone know what's going on. Again, whatever they helped create, they will help make happen. And also, I think training. We don't put enough emphasis on training and customized training. And now, with all these technologies out there, there's ways to train different employees in different areas, very specific to them, so that they could learn at their pace and feel comfortable. But you want everyone to feel comfortable, and you want everyone to be in the know, and you want to be part of the loop. So you are part of the change that's going on. And I think if you get to that point, I don't think they will feel as uncomfortable as maybe, they've been talking about.
You're right. I mean, one thing I just want to pause here for 1 second. Change is difficult in every aspect of your life, whether you're in school or whether you're in the workforce or whether it's at home. Anything different, you need to adapt to. And I think sometimes that's understated when we're in a setting where systems are relying upon other systems or relying upon personnel. A lot of this infrastructure that we have out there has been done the exact same way for decades. So now that we're introducing a more modern approach to collecting data, reporting on data, understanding data, all of those things that go into what digital transformation represents, we don't want to understate that we get it. Like, we understand on a personnel level, this is different. This is not just widely accepted. It's like, oh, we're just going to go on to the next thing. This is something that we need to completely understand, that is widespread and is shared by every worker that is trying to help their utility and their municipality. In some settings, their industrial segmentations, get to the next step and modernize their system. But we understand it. Yes, change is difficult, and we're here to kind of help with that process, whether it's at Water Online, if you need to gain any more information, if you need more information or help from Gigi herself and her consulting firm, we are here to help with that transition. We do not want it to go understated or unstated that, like, look, change is difficult. We get it, and we're here to help you. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, and just to illustrate the kind of help that digital technologies can bring to utilities, I thought maybe I'd lay out a couple real world problems that are facing the industry, and maybe you can just give some quick hitters on how digital tech can help alleviate those problems.
So we're going to keep it real here.
Yeah.
We're going to keep it real. And this is actually, Gigi, this is the lightning round. So
goodness.
This is where we're really going to test you. All right. So 60 seconds or less.
I mean,
if you go to 61 seconds, we're not going to cut you off.
No.
Certainly want your input. Right. But yeah, Kev, what specifics do you have for them?
I mean, the big regulations that come to mind are PFAS and lead and copper. You don't have to speak to those directly, but regulations just in general. How, like, if I institute some form of digital help, how is that going to help me comply with regulations?
Well, I mean, regulation means compliance, and compliance means proof of compliance, and proof of compliance means reports. And, the more automated you can get that, the more digitized you can get that, the more efficient it will be. People getting involved in inputting data can lead to a lot of errors. We just know that we're all human beings. We can lead to error. The more automated it is, the more likely you're going to be very accurate. Looking at this copper and lead changes that are going to be instigated, I guess, in October of this year. I mean, everything has to be in inventory. We have to have inventory of all the pipes and all the lead pipes. And a lot of that is still in paper in some utilities. And this is an opportunity to go ahead and digitize it and use, digital inventory in order to start complying with some of these regulations.
It makes their life easier.
Yes.
Workers at utilities and real people makes their life easier. And Gigi, I like how you answered that with regulations require compliance, which requires proof, which requires reports. And anywhere in between, if digital transformation and the technologies that go along with it can help make that more efficient and also help take work off of real people's workload,
yes.
then that's an exciting time.
Absolutely.
Sorry. Kev, what else you got?
No, that's good. I mean, we held her to 60 seconds, but you go on as long as you.
Hey,
the rules do not apply to me.
No. That was perfect. What about we hear about the gray wave or the silver tsunami, brain drain, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people are retiring from the water industry. So we do have labor issues that are just cropping up more and more. How would digital help with that?
Again, we need to capture what's inside of these amazing people's heads. They've been around for years and years. They know the stuff inside out. They usually solve problems intuitively because they understand how things are working. But we don't have that in writing. We don't have that in video. We don't have that anywhere. So taking that information and digitizing it before they retire, I think is going to be very, very important for many utilities. So collecting information before people retire from their brains onto paper or like even video, like go ahead and videotape them as they're walking around, solving the problems. These people have a lot of insights and we need to capture that digitally so the next generation can learn from it. The other thing I want to say, while we're having a silver tsunami, I understand that most utilities have problems getting young people to get interested in joining water utilities, which I cannot understand because it's the most exciting field. It's the most rewarding field you can ever imagine. Of course,
I agree.
I agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agree here.
But they're going to be these are the digital generation. You're looking at millennials and what's the next generation?
Gen Z, the whole Y, Z.
Y, Z, the whole bit, the whole alphabet.
Couple Gen Xers here. So.
Yeah. And they're not going to be attracted to a utility that is still working with paper, looking at inventory on, these large pieces of CAD paper. They're going to want to see things in a digital format. We should be looking at AR, augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality. Things need to get to the digital realm to attract these, and we need to attract them. So there's two reasons why we need to go more digital and undergo this digital transformation.
Agreed. I mean, the level of critical thinking done by the workers that have been with the utility for the past 20, 30 years is amazing. And the water online users, water online readers, those that Gigi, you've worked with directly out in the field, whether it's operators or engineers, it's amazing. And the new generation coming in has that ability as well. They just access the information differently, right? Yes. So how can we make that transition easier is an important part of it. So there, I did it.
They should be able to use this device.
Yes. What is that?
That's it.
Is that an iPhone 15? You have a 15?
This is their device. This is their interface to the world. And so we got to get to this level. Everything has to be, accessible through a mobile entity.
No doubt. I agree. 100%.
Right. And speaking of sort of evangelizing for the water industry and how great our industry is, unfortunately, the public often doesn't hear about things, or the only communications we have with them are when things go wrong. And so customer relations can suffer because of that. But my understanding is digital technologies can help you with that consumer relationship as well. Can you go into a little detail on that, please?
I mean, it definitely can. There's so many things that could be done. Let me start by an example. A local utility here in the town of Cary, when they deployed AMI meters so that you're getting hourly data for the consumption, they started doing analytics on that data. And they could quickly decipher when a household, for example, may have a leak because all of a sudden the patterns of consumption has changed. And maybe there's a lot of water, consumption happening in the middle of the night when most people are sleeping. That gave the water utility a clue that there might be something wrong. And usually, let's say in my household, if we had a leak here, I might not discover it till it's a little bit too late and it did a lot of damage. But if digitally you have access to the data and you do the analytics necessary, and then you reach out to the customer before the customer reaches out to you because they got this huge bill, and you say, hey, listen, we noticed some change in your consumption patterns. Can you look into your toilets to see if there's a leak or this? And believe it or not, I think I was talking to the CFO of this local utility after they made that change with AMI and reaching out to customers. And they said that they reduced the number of calls by customers complaining by 60%.
Wow, 60%.
60%. So you improve customer relationship when you rely on data-driven information and reach out before the problem occurs so that they feel more comfortable, they trust you more, and it does improve their customer relationship to the utility.
Predictive analytics working for the people.
Yes.
Love hearing stories like that.
I mean, anyone who's ever dealt with something like that, I mean, I would love my utility for giving me a heads up for that. I had a busted hose outside that just leaked for days and squirted water for days. And
that's expensive.
It was.
Wow.
It sucked.
Well, hey, man, I mean, like you said, how great would that be if your utility called you up day one and was like, well, Mr. Westerling, we think you might have a leak there somewhere. Would you mind if we had sent somebody out, or we tried to address it and find the leak here at the utility headquarters? I mean, it's amazing that capability is there, no doubt.
Everyone go out and get AMI.
Right, exactly. This is our endorsement, the in the flow water line endorsement of AMI. Bentley Systems is the infrastructure engineering software company supporting professionals as they design, build, and operate the world's infrastructure. Smarter and for improved quality of life. Their digital twin solutions are helping water professionals reduce operational costs, achieve compliance, and mitigate risk, sustaining both the global economy and environment. Bentley provides innovative software to advance the world's infrastructure. Visit bentley.com/solutions/water-network-monitoring.
And the last quick hitter for you, severe weather, which is seemingly, happening more and more. 100-year storms are no longer 100-year storms.
Every week.
It's
a weekly
I think we have one blowing outside right now.
Wow.
I know. Actually, there is one outside my window right this very second. So hopefully we don't get cut off. But yeah, so weather is very important, and all utilities have access to weather data. So we can know ahead of time when the storm is coming. Now, what can we do with that information? Well, you guys have heard me talk about digital twin. This has been my passion for many, many years. Digital twins are one of these digital solutions that can help us simulate in advance of what will happen when certain conditions occur. And those conditions could be like a severe weather event. And you could see what happens. Is there an overflow of the sewer system? Is there, a leak that happens because of the high pressure system? All kinds of things could be simulated digitally ahead of time. And from that, you can gain an insight of, oh, this is what we need to do before the weather gets here so that we can prevent it from happening. So digital twins and digital technologies in general could help alleviate some of these problems by knowing what to do ahead of time.
I want to go deeper on that. So I'm just going to stop you there for 1 second, Gigi.
Okay.
You mentioned the word digital twin.
Oh,
so
I know.
Digital twin it's an intricate part of digital transformation. And it's an important one to just sort of call a timeout, note, because I do want to talk about it here for a second. And you've done some great research. You've done a great job educating the market on specifically the topic of digital twins. So, and I've actually had the pleasure of emceeing your digital twin workshop, as part of the digital twin working group, part of SWAN, which again will have its annual conference this May in Vancouver. So please make sure you look into that. And if you'd like to join the party in Vancouver as we talk about digital transformation, specifically also digital twin as part of that, please feel free to do that. The Smart Water Networks Forum, you can find that information online. But going back to digital twins, what's the latest innovation in that regard? So helping utilities operate efficiently, sustainably, what's the latest?
Yes, first of all, there will be the 7th Digital Twin Workshop. So the Digital Twin Workshop is one day ahead of the annual conference.
Yep.
And of course, we always have Travis there to help MC.
Yeah, I get to go to Vancouver, which is a beautiful city, by the way. I can't wait to see it in May. It's going to be awesome. And this workshop, I got to tell you, like if you are a operator engineer at a utility and you have any interest or even just any curiosity around how this works and how it can help your utility, I encourage you to contact Gigi and also look at heading over to Vancouver, Canada in May for the network forum, as well as the digital twin workshop. So anyway, Gigi, I'm sorry. My
no. I would love to see all of you there. I mean, this is a true workshop where we all collaborate to come up with solutions. So digital twin, what is a digital twin? A digital twin is basically a model-based simulation of any system. So you could have a digital twin of a pump, a one particular asset, or a digital twin of like a water distribution or a chemical processing process. You just need a model, a behavioral model, and a behavioral model could be either a physics-based model, like a hydraulic model for the water distribution system, or a chemical-based reaction model, the physics of what's really happening chemically with these molecules. Or it could be a data-driven model. A data-driven model is a little bit harder to come by because you need to have massive amounts of data to train in order to get a data-driven model. But once you have, and let's say a physics-based model, then you take inputs from the real system as input parameters for your simulation. And you run the simulation on a constant basis, and you get to see what's really happening in the real system using this digital monitor and this digital simulation. So that's the beauty of digital twin. And I truly believe almost everything is going to become a digital twin in the future. Like we're going to have digital twins of our bodies at some point. We're going to understand the physics and the science behind everything that happens in our body. But that's the most holistic way of understanding a system, is to have a digital twin of a system. So again, addressing weathers, is having the input of the weather data and running your simulation and seeing what the ramifications of that is.
I don't know if the world's ready for 2 Travis Kennedys and 2 Kevin Westerlings. It's probably ready for a couple more Gigis, but one Travis Kennedy, one Kevin Westerling might be enough. So I just want to put that out there. I think we're good, from that aspect for now. But, So
I could also add a little bit, so you've asked me, what is a digital twin and then how has it changed? We just recently wrote an article with Aquatech on changes since the beginning. 2019 is when we had the first digital twin workshop in Miami in May.
Yeah.
And now we're getting ready to have the 7th. Well, since then, a lot more utilities have implemented digital twins. And we have all kinds of case studies on the SWAN website. So please go to that website, look under digital twin, and you can see several case studies. And they've used it for reduction of energy costs. By using these digital twins, they can determine when to turn on the pumps, when not to turn on the pumps based on the cost of electricity for that period of time, and, loading up your storage tanks, all kinds of things in order to be more efficient in how you use electricity, which of course is 70% of the cost of most water utilities. They've also used digital twins to reduce non-revenue water and improve leak detection. So you could use it for anomaly detection. Now, one of the biggest hurdles that most utilities have is understanding how they can take the existing data and even the real-time data and using it as input for your simulation. And that's where I think some of these new AI tools, like everyone's been hearing about generative AI. So I think some of the capabilities of these large language models could actually help utilities, start to make it easier to deploy digital twins.
So yeah, I've heard generative AI as sort of a buzzword, and I only have probably a surface level understanding of it. In my world, uh, content creation, journalism, writing, like generative AI, I can come up with the words to fill in the gaps, and I'm afraid it could, replace people, or
Never.
we'll see.
I cannot place you guys. So.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank
But
you.
like,
There's no replacing Kevin. That's for sure.
in the water wastewater space, how does generative AI fill gaps, and how does it work?
Well, I mean, there is a lot of hype about generative AI, and there are a lot of risk, and people have to be careful. But I have been talking to quite a few utilities that put in some safeguards and some regulations on their own, and said that it's okay for employees to use things like Chat GPT. And I hope if you are going to use Chat GPT that you've all been paying the $20 extra a month and got Chat GPT 4, because it's a world of difference than Chat GPT that you get for free. And $20 a month it is just amazing the benefits that you get from it. The capabilities are enormous. So for example, data analytics. Usually you would have to have a specific application to help you cleanse your data, provide data analytics for you. And usually you're working with, a broad application that can do it on numerous levels. Here, you can upload, once you have a secure and safe way of doing so, like you can get an enterprise version of OpenAI, or there's all the Gemini, there's all these other LLMs. But I'm just going to give you examples using ChatGPT 4, for example. Upload a data file with, let's say, AMI data or any kind of sensor data, and just ask it to cleanse the data and analyze the data and give you some graphs. You will be amazed at, within seconds, what can come out of the analytics. And this is not where you would have to worry about hallucinations, because what it's doing is going to the Python library, pandas, and utilizing that 100% for all these data analytics. So it's not like you're worried about the next word and the probability and things can go wrong. This is real, a real application of a real Python library where the answers are going to be correct for the most part. So data analytics, it could help quite a bit. It could also help with reporting. It could help put that reporting together. You give it access to some of the data stores and then show how to compile that data in the format that, let's say, the EPA is looking for, and it could help automate some of that. It could also, one of the beautiful things about AI is that it now unleashes the potential of unstructured data. So unstructured data, we're thinking of data as like, sensor data or SQL database or Excel. But now unstructured data is like a PDF. It's like a video. It's like a voice call. And because it's based on language, it can interpret that and extract the information from it. And so now you can upload several of your training PDFs and ask it to put together a whole training interactive mode with different employees that is very custom to that employee. So you can start to imagine the capabilities. And remember, it's multimodal. So it can take text, as we all know, but it can also take voice. It can take video. It can take images. You can imagine in the future training it to take in a PNID drawing and then giving you a list of all the assets and all the information about the assets. And then there's something called GPT. I'm sorry, I'm going to go just one more second.
Go ahead. Yeah. Let it roll.
GPTs, which just came out probably like a month or two ago. And now they have something called the GPT store. This again is OpenAI specific. GPTs are little baby application, very specific GPTs that all of us can create. And guess what? We don't have to create it using software. We create it using the English language. And so I'll give you an example. I'm working with Greg Ryan in Australia, and they put together, if you look at assets, there is this one aspect of asset property called a uniclass classification. It's like a digitized classification code for every single asset. And it's kind of difficult to do. Like it goes to the complex level, then the entity level, then the system level, and then the product level. And all these are digital, abbreviations. And so I put together a GPT that used their guidelines, and then I uploaded all the Excel spreadsheets for the translation of the English word into the actual code. And now anyone can go up to it and say, like a wastewater wet well pump, and boom, it will spit out this uniclass classification code for you. And I did that in just maybe an hour of effort, no software required.
How long would that have taken to do that without the
I really have no idea.
Days,
Probably,
weeks?
maybe a couple of weeks or something, or maybe a week with a really good software developer. But the point is, it does it so quickly without any code. And now I have this link that anyone else who has ChatGPT 4, I could send it to them and they could use it. And now it just becomes this, nice application. So wouldn't it be great in the water sector if we start developing these GPTs that every utility have these common problems and this is a solution for, and then sharing it? And really bringing up the level of digitization across the entire water sector. That's a nice vision to have.
It is. I mean, it's almost like standards for the next generation. And as we evolve, like AWWA and other associations have had these standards, these legacy standards, and they would, all come together and they would decide on a standard. They would share that standard from one municipality to the next. This is a similar type concept. It's how to operate more efficiently and safely. I think it's exciting. And I do want to note, if I was ever to open a library, I would call it the Python library. That is the coolest name for any library ever.
But it's based on Python code.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, I know all about Python.
But yeah, I agree. Python is kind of cool.
I mean, that does. It recalls a question that I had. Is that some of it sounds real simple. You said it's just speaking a command, but then there's some jargon that you mentioned that probably went over both Travis and I said.
Speak for yourself. No, seriously, it did.
But so, I mean, does this require an extra, a new hire, software whiz to come on board, or is this something that utilities can handle on their own as is?
So I think that's the beauty of this. It kind of democratizes. It democratizes all types of software solutions. The code of the future is going to be language. It's going to be human language. Like you can speak what you wanted to do. And then, like, for example, again, in OpenAI, it uses something called Code Interpreter, which writes the code, checks the code, runs the code, makes sure that it's working properly. And if it doesn't, you could say, can you try that again? And it will go back and redo things. But for the most part, at this stage, over 1 year since the launch of ChatGPT, which was in November of 2022, it's pretty decent at writing code. And it's going to get better and better. And as it gets better, I don't think you're going to have a software degree to accomplish a lot of tasks that you want to do. So I'm very excited about this. And I'm sort of like an evangelist to get the entire global water sector to more embrace AI, understand its risk. There are some risks, and understand them and steer clear of them. But I think it's a technology we cannot allow ourselves to sit and wait and watch what other industry, which we have been that kind of industry. We need to be upfront and tackling this in such a way that it can help us, I believe, solve some of the biggest challenges in the water sector. And especially if we all can start to collaborate more, and sharing data.
It sounds to me like the end game here would be like Alexa or Siri being able to write code. Just like, instead of saying, Alexa, play Bon Jovi, right? It would be like, Alexa, write me code on the latest SCADA system that I need to integrate into my central hub. So
Yeah.
If I'm right on that comparison, it seems really exciting. But I do agree with what you were saying too, Kevin, is like, may not need to bring somebody in new, but it does kind of help that the new workforce that's coming into these utilities and municipalities has been brought up on digital platforms.
Digital
right?
natives.
Right, exactly. Digital natives, exactly.
Yeah.
So they can certainly, I'm sure, be a big help as to integrate a lot of this. So rely on each other. That would be my message to the workforce and the personnel. Like, rely on each other. The generation that is sort of moving out of the workforce and those that are moving in, if you work together, your legacy, the legacy of the more advanced in age, older generation is going to continue, right? It's going to continue because you are handing off all of your knowledge. And the new generation coming in has this opportunity to just come in and grab the opportunity by the horns and just go with it.
Yes.
Right. So it is an exciting time. I agree with what you said. It's an exciting time.
You were afraid to say older.
I was, because I'm
older's older. Okay. Just
right.
Old.
Yeah. Well, there was a Bon Jovi song called "I'm Not Old and Just Older," right? So
Bon Jovi reference.
That's right. That's like the Gen X theme coming out. But wow, Gigi, thank you very much. There was a lot to cover there. And you gave us so much information, so much insight, so much knowledge packed into this shortened window of time. So thank you. I do want to give you an opportunity here because for those who don't know you in industry, I'm wondering what's taken them so long. But is there anything else out there that you'd like to talk about, mention, plug, promote? The floor is yours. What would you like?
Yes, actually, so I'm collaborating with Blue Tech Research, and we are creating this new business unit on AI for the water sector. And we have our first report, Insight Market Report, coming out at the end of this month, beginning of February. And I do think this is going to be a new and important place for the water sector. Look also for some startups that will be coming out that are leveraging these large language models. And what we're learning is startups, instead of taking 6 to 12 months, if they leverage some of the capabilities here, we're looking at a few weeks to launch a product and to start making revenue. In fact, just a little data point that's in the report is basically in the top 50 AI web companies today, 80% of them did not exist 1 year ago. These are the top 50 AI companies.
Say that again, Gigi.
Okay, the top 50 AI companies based on the number of hits to their website on a daily basis.
Top 50, yep.
Did not exist 1 year ago.
What percentage? 70 or
80%?
80%.
80% did not exist.
Wild, man.
It
is, and it's happening fast, right?
It's happening fast.
Get with it.
Get on board.
Right, exactly. Get on board. We don't want to be left behind. Gigi Karmous-Edwards, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
We very much appreciate it. We can't wait to have you back on the show. But I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful first quarter here of 2024. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person in May at Swan Network Forum. And we will talk with you soon, hopefully.
Thank you so much. Thank you both.
Thanks, Gigi.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.